The key learning points in this scenario include: the leader in this scenario may be trying to help the young person. However, this situation is not safe practice and unacceptable under the association's safeguarding policy. If this occurred at one of your meetings, you would need to ensure that the young person is supported, but ensure that the scouting volunteer is not in a situation where they are left alone with a young person. It is important to remember that parents or young people cannot override our policy or the code of behaviour. This leader's actions may be open to misinterpretation, however innocent their motivation may be. The code of behaviour states that adults should plan for more than one person to be present. You should not just rely on your good name to protect you.
What I want to do is discuss now is another scenario, and that's about communicating with a young person outside scouting on a social networking site. Does anyone see any problems with that, or any concerns that you might have about contacting a young person through a social networking site?
And often get requests from my Explorer Scouts to be friends on there. Is it okay to do that?
The thing you've got to consider about is maybe more appropriate to have a separate profile for your scouting than your personal profile. Do you really want to see or let young people see the pictures that you might have on your profile when you've gone out with your friends on a Saturday night around the local pubs? Is that appropriate for your section to see? And should have a separate one for your scouting needs. That might be the best way forward with regard to a social networking site. But again, within scouting activities, again, make sure that if you've got a scouting profile, again, make sure that only people that you know within scouting have got access.
How do I communicate with young people? I mean, I've got their email addresses of their contact details cards. Is it okay to sort of send them emails?
Yes, if you think about it. It's very appropriate to maybe contact an Explorer Scout by email or text. It might be the best way of getting through to them on some occasions. But make sure that you copy another leader in, or the parents of the Explorer, so that they know where the message is coming from, that it's all above board, and everyone's got a clear understanding of why you're speaking to the young person. You shouldn't be contacting beavers or cubs by that method. By all means, contact beaver and cubs parents directly to make sure that their children can attend an event, but you shouldn't be talking to the young people in that kind of context.
So what about using people's names online then?
Right, we've got to be careful about this. We shouldn't really identify young people online by their surname. We shouldn't, for example, say John Smith of the First Stone Scout Troop, but we can certainly put the name John, a Scout, in stone.
Is it okay for me to set up a group for my Explorer Scout unit?
Yeah, that's quite appropriate, that you can set up a group, but make sure that there's two adults administrating the site, just not you as an individual, and make sure the privacy settings are such that only the explorers within the unit can see it.
To conclude, the key learning points from this scenario are: volunteers need to be very conscious of the context in which these sites are used and ensure the public cannot view any personal information about young people. Volunteers need to be especially careful about those they accept as friends on social networking sites. These sites are essentially designed for peer-to-peer contact. It is vitally important to ask yourself, is the content of the messages and photographs available to be viewed on my profile suitable for young people or their parents in my section to see? If the answer is no, or if you are unsure, then do not post material or allow young people to be your friend. This also applies to any other form of communication, including emails or texts to young people. The code of behaviour is clear. You should not use inappropriate language, and you should ensure that you copy another adult into any emails, text messages or instant messages to young people. More information on this can be found in Fact Sheet, Emails and Text Messaging Guidance for Leaders.
In a lot of these situations, there's no right and wrong answer. You know, it's about trying to judge each situation. In conclusion, right, remember, follow the code of the behaviour which is found on the yellow card. Remember that young people are your first priority. Work in sight and sound of others at all times. And ensure that your behaviour cannot be misinterpreted. And finally, and most importantly, enjoy scouting.
For the majority of young people, scouting is a safe and enjoyable experience. Your role as an adult is to help create a safe environment to empower young people.
It's really fun, and you meet lots of new friends from different schools.
You make better friends when you're outside having fun, doing something a lot more active.
You get to do different sports that maybe you've never tried or done before, and it's really fun.
The leaders, they're just like my other leader. He's really funny and he just brings excitement to the pack.
And everyone really enjoys it, and it's not just a boy thing, it's girls as well.
You get to plan lots of stuff and do lots of stuff.
It's sort of like me being out in the wild, doing extreme sports and just generally being closer to nature.
Protecting the environment so young people can get the most from scouting involves encouraging positive behaviour and identifying and tackling bullying. Bullying is deliberately hurtful behaviour that may be repeated over a period of time. It doesn't have to be a long-running series of incidents. It can be any occasion where someone deliberately intimidates or harasses another. All groups and sections should have a clear policy for dealing with bullying and for helping those who have been bullied. Involving young people in anti-bullying work will make it far more likely to succeed than if ideas are imposed on them. This discussion looks at what bullying is and involves the young people in the creation of an anti-bullying code.
Right, we're going to talk about what it is that you all like about scouting. Can everyone give me some examples? Yes,
I like when you go on camps and you do stuff that you couldn't do at school. I like playing some games and making stuff. I like where we go on, say, the London Zoo, where we get to see all the animals, and it's really cool.
I like the things that makes it so unexpected, like when you're going to clubs, you don't know what you're going to do, and when you get there, you get and do the activities.
And what things can we do to make coming to clubs better and more fun?
I think it's okay the way it is. It's just that some people have to spoil it.
We have to play it fairly.
Yeah.
So you don't cheat or anything.
Don't cheat, yeah.
So if you're playing a game and someone does something that you don't don't start being mean to them.
Anybody know what rules are and why we have to have rules?
Well, you shouldn't judge people if you don't know what they're like.
Don't say bad words.
Don't say bad words.
Shouldn't really hit anyone back if they hit you first.
What rules do you think you'd like to see then, Sean? Is there anything you'd like to see?
Well, play games fairly.
Play games fairly.
I think sometimes people get too overexcited and then people get hurt, so maybe we shouldn't play games that people are going to get too rough, and because in the end people get hurt.
Do we all follow these rules? Do you think we do, without really realising that we're following them? You think?
Yeah.
Yeah? Does anybody know what bullying is?
It's when somebody hurts you or they hurt your feelings.
Bullying is say someone goes and says something really rude to you, then they get other people involved and it spreads around the whole place. And if they do it to the younger ones, they'll get really sad.
And what would you do if you found out that someone was being bullied?
You go and tell the nearest leader, or a parent or helper, the nearest adult.
How do you think you feel?
Sad.
You feel really sad, don't you? And hurt. Yeah? So if you imagine feeling sad and hurt, it wouldn't be nice, would it? So you wouldn't want to do that to someone else.
And it would breaking your life, ruining your life.
Yes.
And because you'll never forget it.
No fighting.
Play games fairly.
Don't say bad words to other people.
Don't interrupt other people if they're talking.
Treat others like you want to be treated.
Don't judge other people if you don't even know who they are.
Think about what you're doing before you actually do it. And most of all, have fun.
Bullying can be being called names, being teased, having money or possessions taken away, being hit, pushed, pulled, pinched or kicked, receiving abusive or threatening text messages, instant messages or emails, being the subject of nasty rumours, being ignored or left out, being attacked or abused because of religion, gender, sexuality, disability, appearance, intellect or interests, being blackmailed into bullying someone else, being the subject of inappropriate sexual advances. There are 2 steps you can take to ensure that bullying doesn't happen. Looking at what you can do to prevent bullying and how to identify it if it is happening. Identifying. Get to know your young people. Develop your listening and observation skills. Discuss possible signs with other leaders. Communicate and share information between leaders concerning behaviour. Build effective relationships with parents or carers. Preventing. Praise good behaviour and cooperation. Lead by example. Improve young people's self-confidence. Create an anti-bullying code with the young people and make sure everyone is aware of the consequences if it's broken. Help create a friendly and respectful environment. You are going to be presented with a series of statements. Do you think they are preventing or identifying bullying?